The adoption center on station Kepler 442 hummed with the sterile efficiency of bureaucracy, but beneath its polished chrome surfaces lay stories of countless orphaned children from a dozen different species. Maya sat in the corner of the communal play area, her translucent blue skin shimmering faintly under the artificial lights. At 8 cycles old, she was already considered difficult to place by the adoption coordinators. "Nobody wants to adopt me," she whispered to herself, tracing patterns on the cold floor with her 3-fingered hand. Her species, the Vellani, required specialized care, temperature-regulated environments, nutrient solutions administered every 6 hours, and constant monitoring for the degenerative, cellular decay that plagued survivors of the Vellani genocide. That it was too much trouble, too expensive, too complicated. The other children had learned to avoid her, not out of cruelty, but out of the natural order of things. Maya had watched 17 families walk through those doors in the past lunar cycle. They came with hope in their eyes, looking for Torgani cubs with their infectious laughter, or Rishan younglings with their empathic abilities, or even human children who reminded them of home. Never her, never the dying Vellani girl. Ferret Karaman had never planned to visit an adoption center. The 42-year-old human veteran had come to Kepler 442 to forget the war. Forget the screams, forget the friends he'd buried on 17 different worlds. He worked maintenance on the station's lower decks, kept to himself, and tried to ignore the phantom pains in his prosthetic left arm, but something pulled him through. Those doors on a cold station morning. Maybe it was loneliness. Maybe it was the memory of a promise made to a dying comrade. Maybe it was just fate. He saw her immediately, while other children played and laughed and performed for prospective parents. Maya sat alone, her bioluminescent patterns dim with resignation. Ferret recognized that look. He'd seen it in the mirror every morning for the past 3 years. "Tell me about her," Ferret said to Coordinator Vess, a middle-aged Torgani woman with kind eyes that had seen too much sadness. Vess sighed. "Maya 8 cycles Vellani. She's complicated. Mr. Karaman, her species requires." "I didn't ask about requirements. I asked about her." Vess blinked, then smiled sadly. "She's brilliant. Reads at a level 3 cycles beyond her age. She remembers everything, every story, every fact, every person who's ever walked past her without stopping. She's kind to the younger children, even though they don't understand her. And she's dying, Mr. Karaman. The cellular degradation will take her in perhaps 5 years, maybe less. So she needs someone, she needs a miracle." Ferret approached Maya slowly, the way he'd been taught to approach wounded soldiers who'd lost hope. He sat down on the floor beside her, ignoring the protest from his bad knee. "Hey," he said simply. Maya glanced at him, her large amber eyes showing neither hope nor fear, just a weary acceptance. "You should look at the others. They're healthier, easier. I'm not here for easy. I require special care. The coordinators can explain." "I don't want the coordinators to explain. I want you to tell me what you like to do." For the first time in months, Maya's bioluminescent patterns flickered with something other than resignation. I like stories. About Earth. About humans who fought impossible odds." Ferret smiled, a genuine expression that surprised even himself. "Well, you're in luck. I've got about 1,000 of those." The adoption process took 6 weeks. Ferret attended every medical briefing, learned to prepare the nutrient solutions, modified his quarters with temperature regulators and monitoring equipment. He liquidated his savings, took on extra shifts, and called in favors from old military contacts to source specialized Vellani medications. The other veterans on the station thought he'd lost his mind. "She's dying anyway." "Ferret," his friend Marcus had said, "why put yourself through this?" Ferret's response was simple: because everybody deserves to matter to somebody. The first night Maya came home, she stood in the center of Ferret's now their quarters, trembling. She'd never had a home before, not that she could remember. The Vellani colony ship had been destroyed when she was 3 cycles old. Everything since had been institutions, medical facilities, and temporary housing. "This is your room," Ferret said, showing her a small space he'd decorated with constellation maps and a soft, bioluminescent lamp that mimicked Vellani starlight. "I know it's not much," but Maya burst into tears. Not the quiet resignation she'd shown before, but genuine, overwhelming emotion. Ferret did what came naturally. He knelt down and pulled her into a gentle embrace, careful of her fragile frame. "I've got you, kiddo," he whispered. "I've got you." The months that followed weren't easy. Maya's condition deteriorated twice, requiring emergency interventions that left Ferret exhausted and terrified. He learned to recognize the subtle shifts in her bioluminescence that indicated pain, the way her skin dulled when her cellular structure began breaking down, but he also learned her far musical sound like crystal chimes. He discovered her fierce intelligence as she devoured every book he could acquire. He watched her confidence grow as she realized that he wasn't going anywhere, that she finally mattered to someone unconditionally. Ferret told her stories every night, tales of human stubbornness, of soldiers who'd fought when victory was impossible, of species that refused to quit even when the universe said they should. Why do humans never give up? Maya asked one evening, her head resting against his shoulder as they watched the stars through the viewport. Because giving up means admitting that hope doesn't matter, Ferret replied. And if hope doesn't matter, then nothing does. A year after the adoption, Maya's specialist delivered unexpected news. The aggressive treatment protocol Ferret had insisted on, despite the cost, despite the skepticism, was working. The cellular degradation had slowed, not stopped, but slowed significantly. She might have 15 years now, the doctor said, amazement in his voice. Maybe more. I've never seen a Vellani respond like this. Ferret knew why. He'd seen it in the war soldiers who had someone to fight for, always fought harder, lasted longer, survived against impossible odds. Maya wasn't just receiving medical treatment, she was receiving something her species' physiology desperately needed, a reason to live. That evening, as they prepared dinner together in their small kitchen, Maya asked the question that had been on her mind for weeks. Ferret, why did you choose me, really? The veteran paused, considering his answer carefully. You know what I learned in the war, Maya? That humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons or our technology, it's that we look at impossible situations and decide they're worth fighting for anyway. When I saw you sitting there, convinced you didn't matter, I saw someone who needed what humans do best. What's that? We show up, we fight, we refuse to let the ones we love face the darkness alone. He smiled at her. You said nobody wanted to adopt you, but that just meant you were waiting for the right person, someone stubborn enough to prove the universe wrong. Maya's bioluminescent patterns blazed with joy, bathing the room in soft blue light. For the first time in her young life, she understood a fundamental human truth. But love isn't about finding someone who's easy to care for, it's about deciding someone is worth fighting for, and then never backing down. Thank you, she whispered. Ferret ruffled her crystalline hair gently. Thank you for giving an old soldier a reason to keep fighting, kiddo. We're saving each other. Outside, the stars wheeled silently through space, indifferent witnesses to a small miracle on Station Kepler 442, where a dying alien girl and a broken human veteran proved that hope, stubbornness, and unconditional love could defy even the cruelest odds, and that, as humans have always known, was worth more than all the stars in the galaxy.